Hello and welcome to the Back to Fundamentals lecture. Some of the things that are going to be discussed today will form the foundations for your coursework. So although the criteria for the assessment are more specific, you are being asked to use your knowledge of these fundamentals in your coursework. For example, the assignment requires you to look in detail at market segments, and today will be the only time that I cover segmentation specifically. So this should be a useful lecture in general and specifically for your coursework. Now, I said in the previous lecture that marketing is a business philosophy that reaches all aspects of an organization's operations. Now, nearly any organization of medium size and above these days will have a specific marketing function, a specific part of the operation that is tasked with managing and presenting the organization's image and activities to its specific audiences and indeed the wider world. The police, for example, employ a range of marketing activities to help with their mission of keeping communities safe. In 2017 in York, in the north of England, a young girl was murdered by another girl. Now, the first contact the police made with the public about this was via Twitter through an official account. It said, "Tragic events in York today. Our thoughts go out to the family of the young girl who has been killed." And this was a civilian marketing department within the police force who managed the police's communications. In our noisy modern world, the average person will come into contact with somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 forms of marketing messaging, from brand logos to radio adverts, in any given day. A marketing function helps ensure that the right messaging and visual representation is being shared by ironing out the organization's narrative to the public. The fact that the environment is so noisy means that marketing's importance only increases as the ability to be heard becomes more challenging. As I said before, marketing is an area that applies to sociology, psychology, and anthropology, and often what we're doing in marketing is taking these subjects in context and understanding how they interact with each other. Ultimately, marketing often boils down to people. And particularly in the digital era and with the explosion of social media, most people actually market a product on a daily basis and command communications across multiple channels, trying to ensure a consistent presentation of that product. And that product is themselves. We craft, curate, and carefully construct an online persona that incorporates a great deal of the fundamentals of marketing. That means that many of you have been practicing marketing by the simple virtue of belonging to a generation that has grown up on the internet. Now, that is a useful skill set for a career in marketing. And marketing is not fundamentally complex in many ways. It is, however, highly complex in action. That can mean it's a bit paradoxical sometimes because you hear an example in class, say, and it seems quite straightforward, maybe even just simply common sense. But we have to remember two things. One, that the part of the story you hear is sometimes only a small proportion of the organization, planning, and coordination that took place in order to achieve that. So we must always remember to acknowledge the complexity of executing successful integrated marketing. Number two, we mostly only hear about marketing successes. We hear retrospectively the glory stories of how great marketing was effective, and that can sometimes make it seem easy and straightforward. So it is important not to take for granted that good case studies are often success stories, making us think that that's what always happens. Now, we'll touch on the nature of profit when we cover not-for-profit marketing in class. But profit in marketing can be measured in many ways. Profit in its etymological sense is not only about money, it relates to value, gain, and rewards. So profit for a marketer may be measured in customer retention, market penetration, or even user downloads. It may not just be measured on the bottom line. And that is important because the marketing function of a business tends to be a majority cost to an organization. In other words, if you employ a marketing person, they are going to only represent a cost to your business. Their value is indirect. Whereas a salesperson will directly bring money into the business. Therefore, they tend to be a profit region for a business. This has changed for the benefit of marketing in the digital era because through the use of things like data, it is easier to demonstrate the impact of marketing through tracking activity online. But marketing is always fighting to show how its activities lead to increased revenues for a business. So marketing is just a pile of crap. That's competition, research, the age of consumerism, and progress. I've already mentioned, and I will mention again, that the marketing space is noisy and highly competitive. And businesses spend lots of money on marketing research, finding out about their customer base and the segments that they're trying to target towards. We also live in an age of consumerism. I touched on this in lecture 1, but I imagine even as you're listening to this, you're probably not wearing clothes that were either made for you by your mother or handed down to you from an older sibling. They're probably clothes that you bought in a shop, mainly or entirely because you liked the look of them and they fitted your personal image. That is a phenomenon that is less than 50 years old. Contemporary fashion, and especially high street fashion, is a modern consumer creation, and it has developed more and more to the extent that there are still considerable parts of the consumer market where people will think nothing of purchasing an item of clothing or even an outfit for a specific event and have no intention whatsoever of ever wearing it again. Now, marketing forces drive such consumerism, and then the consumerism in turn encourages the marketing to go even further. The example I've given is a negative one from the point of view of sustainability and the environment, and indeed how it reflects on the way we as a society feel the need for disposable single-use clothing, because, say, our Instagram feed would not keep growing if we recycled our outfits. However, the investment in research and the competitive nature of the business environment can also drive positive progress. With dominant market players trying to be the catalysts of consumer change, you could argue that the likes of H&M drawing our attention to these issues through certain sustainable and environmentally friendly clothing lines has a significant network effect on our own consumer attitudes due to brands like H&M's global presence. Now, if we're going back to the fundamentals of marketing, then we can't not look at a definition of marketing. This is a classic definition of marketing. Marketing is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating, and satisfying customer requirements profitably. We've already mentioned the different types of profit we could consider to be useful and important to marketers. Here is a more detailed definition. Marketing is the activity, set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners and society at large, satisfying customer requirements profitably. Now let's think about what the components of that definition are and what are the key marketing principles.